Welcome into 76ers Now. I am Jake Chipper. Here on today's show, Janai Broom's been putting together some pretty good performances in Summer League and has been impressing some people like me who were doubters of that pick initially. Plus, Ricky Council, after a pretty disappointing sophomore season in the NBA, could he end up getting cut before the start of this upcoming season? That's what we're discussing here on today's show. But first, here's a look at some of our NBA channels within the walls here at Chat Sports, and we love competition here at Chat Sports. You look at the subs in July that we picked up so far this month. 76ers now, fourth behind Warriors Today, the Heat Report, and Knicks Now. Now, Knicks Now has a pretty big lead, but Warriors Today, Miami Heat Report, we're not too far behind, and we're not that far ahead of Celtics Today either. So we got to pick up the pace a little bit. I know we can do it if you're looking for a place for Sixers coverage every single day, all year long. This is your one-stop shop on YouTube. Hit that sub button. You will not regret it. Let's begin with Janai Broom. As I mentioned, he's been pretty impressive in Summer League thus far. Now, if you look at the raw box score numbers, you wouldn't think this is somebody that has been dominating or someone that you might say has been all that impressive. But within some of these games, what I'm seeing from him and in the important areas that I wanted to see from him, he has been impressive against Utah in that first game, 13 and 5, 4 of 11 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. Then against OKC, numbers weren't great, but 2 of 5 from 3 again in that one. It's 40%. You'll take that all day. Against Memphis, 12 rebounds and 2 blocks, although the offense couldn't really find it there. And then against the Spurs, in a game where the Sixers got blown out, 8 points, 5 rebounds, but 2 of 3 from 3 again. The biggest thing with me for Janai Broom, because coming out, an older, more experienced player, someone who did dominate in college, the thing with me with his game, would he be able to shoot the three ball? That was his biggest swing skill, in my opinion, entering the NBA. I feel like everything else, we kind of knew how that was going to translate to the NBA. But would he be able to knock down the three at a higher rate than he did in college? If he could carve himself a role. If not, which I was doubtful he could, had a hard time really seeing him getting out there on the floor. Now, look, Broom, a very smart, experienced player, right? We know from his time at Auburn, he knows how to play the game the right way. Always plays 110%. That's what I love about him, too. Sometimes you see these guys that super dominant in college, don't always necessarily come to the NBA and play the hardest. But Broom, he's had to get it out the mud. He always plays extremely hard, a very good passer, a very good playmaker out of the post. But look, the realistic scenario here with Broom is that he's a slower, unathletic four. He's not the biggest guy either. So can he truly play the five? I think he fits best at the four. But if he can't be a floor spacer, how is he supposed to play the four in the modern NBA? The good sign is he has started to show you, at least in Summer League, that he's been able to hit that 3-point shot just a little bit. Now, look, we've seen the lack of athleticism in Summer League so far. There's moments where he just looks slow running up and down the floor. The defense isn't quite what you would like it to be, even though he knows what he's doing out there. Just sometimes can't guard some of these guys that are just better athletes than he is. And that shows up on the defensive end. That shows up when he's rebounding as well. Now, he's done a good job still rebounding the basketball, puts himself in good positions. But again, the biggest area that I've been impressed with him, and this is the biggest area that he needed to succeed in and needs to continue to succeed in to carve out a big role in the NBA, is knocking down the three. And outside of one game against Memphis, where he was 0 of 5, 2 of 4, 2 of 5, 2 of 3. You'll take that all day long from Broom. Now, the jumper isn't the fastest. It takes a little bit of time. Against Utah, he had a corner three at the end of that game that I think he could have taken, but he was a little bit nervous to pull that trigger. So it's still in development, right? But it's a good sign that he's getting some of these shots to go. If he does, he could be better than even I thought he was going to be. And look, I was not a fan of the Broom pick. A lot of you know that. And a lot of people that watch this show, a lot of you were fans of the Janai Broom pick. I'm going to be honest. I just didn't like him as a player. I didn't think his skills in college were going to translate to the NBA, in large part because he wasn't a very good three-point shooter. Now, it's not like he never made threes in college, right? But wasn't very consistent from there. And the NBA three line's even farther out than it is in college. So, to me, I didn't see him developing that skill. But he's a very hard worker. He's clearly putting the time already in the short amount of time he's been with this Sixers organization. And he knows he's going to have to succeed in that area to make an impact in the NBA. So if he can continue this stretch where, like, I'm not asking Janai Broom to be a 40% three-point shooter, but if he can be a 36, 37% guy on lower volume, I think he has a chance with the way he plays the game. He's smart. He knows what he's doing out there on the floor to make an impact for the Sixers team as soon as this season. But again, it's just summer league. Don't always want to overreact to these games. But look, if you're making shots, you're making shots. Hopefully that can translate once we get to the start of the regular season. Sixers are going to need someone like him on the floor with his size and his rebounding skills. What say you, though? Should Janai Broom get big minutes this season? I'm not talking, starting, playing 35 minutes a game, but playing a good role off the bench, maybe 20 plus minutes in his rookie season. Give me a yes. Give me a no down in the comment section. Should Janai Broom get big minutes as soon as this year for the 76ers? Now getting to a little bit more of a down note here with Ricky Council, who, look, after his rookie year was a very exciting player out of Arkansas who looked like he was going to be a rotational piece for the 76ers, but then comes in year two and a little bit disappointing. Is there a chance he gets cut before the start of this season or even possibly during the season? Like, you take a look at the Sixers roster right now, one roster spot left open. It's going to go to Quentin Grimes at some point. Got a lot of guys that are just going to be ahead of Ricky Council in the rotation, especially with the drafting of VJ Edgecombe, the emergence of Justin Edwards, the drafting of Janai Broom, the signing of Trenton Watford, Kelly Oubre is back, Jared McHaley back from injury. There's just a lot of guys that weren't necessarily supposed to be in these spots that now are ahead of Ricky Council. So it's a tough uphill battle just from that perspective for him to get a lot of minutes on this team. But the reason we're talking about him as a cut candidate is because of the contract. Now, you might look at Ricky's contract and say, oh, it's only $2.4 million this year and next year. It's an absolute steal, right? Yeah, the price isn't really the problem here. The issue for Ricky is that his contract is fully non-guaranteed until January 10th. That means if the Sixers cut him anytime before then, they don't have to pay him any money. Fully non-guaranteed. So as we approach the season, there's a chance that Daryl Morey maybe sees someone sitting in free agency that he thinks fits this Sixers roster better. Even as we get into the season, just see somebody else out there that he thinks would make a bigger impact than Ricky. And it makes the most sense for Ricky to get cut because, again, they won't owe him any money. Look, I love Ricky Council. I was a huge fan of him after his first season. I made a video around this time last year, I believe, saying that I thought Ricky Council could shock the NBA in his second year with his athleticism and with how he was able to grow throughout his rookie season. He didn't hit that rookie wall. He got better and better throughout the year. I really thought he was going to be an impactful player for this team. He got converted from a two-way deal to a standard deal at the end of the year. I was very hopeful for what he could bring to this team. Unfortunately, we get into year two, and yes, it was a disaster as a whole for the entire team. But look, Ricky had a chance to play a lot of games and a lot more minutes this year because of the injuries. He was one of the few players who did not deal with injuries this year. Played 73 games this season, over 17 minutes a game. And, man, yeah, the raw scoring went up a couple points. Raw rebounding numbers went up a couple points. The efficiency, man, really, really dropped. And apart from the raw numbers, he just didn't seem to get better in the areas you wanted him to get better. That's playing smarter, playing more under control instead of just trying to play 1,000 miles an hour at all times. Just not a smart basketball player right now. And yes, it's only year two, but the Sixers team is looking to compete. So if they see someone out there that they think can help them compete more than Ricky Council can, unfortunately, I think it's realistic to say he could be on the way out. And look, that player could be someone that's already in the Sixers organization because all three of the Sixers two-way players, mostly Dominic Barlow and Jabari Walker, I think have a very realistic shot of getting minutes for this 76ers team and maybe earning themselves a standard NBA contract, especially when you consider where the Sixers' biggest needs are. That size, that's rebounding at that four spot. Jabari Walker, Dominic Barlow can both provide that. I think both of them could have made actual NBA rosters, but they're here on two ways for the Sixers. So maybe Daryl Morey sees them and the coaching staff sees them in practice with the squad and they come up, play some NBA games, and finish more impactful than Ricky. Ricky's the odd man out again because his contract is fully non-guaranteed. You don't lose anything for the Sixers by letting him go, other than maybe he goes somewhere else and balls out. But look, maybe you give him through the year until about January when that contract becomes guaranteed. And if he doesn't show you anything then, he could get cut. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Morey sees somebody out there in free agency over these next few weeks and says, you know what, Ricky, we love you, but we're trying to win a championship this year. We don't think that you can help us do that. What say you? Let's hear from you down in the comment section. Get active. Let your voices be heard. Should the Sixers cut Ricky Council? I hate to say it, but man, he's going to be on thin ice heading into the start of the season if he does stay on the team. Give me a K to keep Ricky Council, or a C if you think the Sixers should cut ways and let Ricky Council walk. Before we hop on out of here, if you want more Sixers coverage every single day, of course, always providing you guys videos right here on YouTube, but I'm also always talking Sixers over on social media. You can follow my personal Twitter account, or X, whatever you want to call it, at Jake Chipper. We also have an Instagram page for the channel here on IG at 76ers Now IG, trying to grow those followings, grow those brands. So don't be shy. Go over there, give me a follow, and we'll see you next time right here on the show.